Hari Om, everyone. We will start this session with the invocation prayer. Everyone can join. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviyankarvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Avahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Okay, before we move forward, I request everyone to keep your camera on so that it will be an interactive session. And also, please join the WhatsApp group using the link which we sent, where we will send the PPTs and we can discuss whatever discussion we have in the class. So now I would request Shri Arvind Kananji, Head of Home Study Course Department, to give the introductory speech. Arvindji.
Hari Om.
Hari.
Om Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Hari Om to all. Thank you, Vaishnavi, for the invocation prayer. I welcome one and all of you joining us today for the 6-day online webinar on Nirukta Chapter 1. This webinar is being conducted by both CIF and CIFSS in joint collaboration. As you all know, Professor Gauri ji will be facilitating this webinar. I welcome her and all the members of the CIFSS to this webinar. An introduction to CIFSS, as well as our speaker, will be given by Vaishnavi shortly. I'll just give a very brief introduction of what we do in home study. As some of you may be knowing, CIF conducts both online courses and webinars regularly, and all of this information is available on the website. Many of you have already attended Gauriji's webinars, but there are almost, I think, 30-40% of the people are joining are new people also. I welcome all of you, especially to the new ones, to these sessions. A few guidelines, some of them which Vaishnavi has already indicated, to join 10 minutes before, and to please keep your cameras on so that the facilitator can see you as well. If you have any questions, Gauri Amma will allot a separate time for Q&A and questions can be asked at that time. This first session is being streamed on YouTube also. You can share the link also widely and encourage other people to participate these webinar talks as well. I welcome you all once again. Thank you. I now request Vaishnavi to give a brief introduction to CIF and CIFSS. Thank you. Hari Om.
Yeah, thank you, Arvindji. Now let me give you a brief of CIF and CIFSS. Chinmaya International Foundation, the Academy of Sanskrit Research and Indology, is a research wing of the Chinmaya Mission worldwide. Established in the year 1989, CIF is housed in Adi Shankara Nilayam, the maternal birth home of the great philosopher Sri Adi Shankaracharya. It is a center of excellence of the study for the study, research, and dissemination of knowledge in the areas of Indian philosophy, culture, art and science, business management, both modern and ancient. It offers an ambience of peace and solitude for the study, research, and contemplation to aspirants from all over the world. Coming to CIFSS, CIF Shodh Samsthan is leading center for advanced learning in Sanskrit and Indology in India, providing a strong academic environment. Since its inception, CIFSS has been a hub for studying Sanskrit philosophy, principles, values, and India's cultural heritage. So, do visit Adi Shankara Nilayam whenever possible. Now, I would request Dr. G. Rajshekar Reddy ji, Deputy Director of CIF Shodh Samsthan, to speak a few words.
हरि ओम। नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्म विद्या संप्रदाय कर्तृभ्यो वंश ऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। हरि ओम। नमस्सभायै। इदं महान् आनन्दकरविषयोऽयम् अस्माकं सर्वेषाम्। इदमन्दं तमः कृत्स्नं जायेत भुवनत्रयं यदि शब्दाह्वयं ज्योतिः आसंसारं न दीप्यते इति काव्यादर्श आचार्येण दण्डिमहोदयेन उक्तदिशा विश्वेस्मिन् यदि शब्दाह्वयं ज्योतिः आसंसारं न भविष्यत् तर्हि इदं सम्पूर्णं भुवनत्रयम् अन्धकारमयमेव अभविष्यत्। अर्थात् अस्मिन् चराचरजगति विद्यमानाः मानवाः सर्वेपि वाचः अधीनाः एव। वाचं विना भावाभिव्यक्तेः अभावात् जीवनं यापयितुम् असमर्थाः एव। मानवस्य विवेकिता एव न सिद्ध्येत्। वाक्तत्वं समुद्रः अस्ति, अर्थात् समुद्र इव अक्षय भाण्डागाररूपम् अगाधं दुर्बोधं च वर्तते। एवंविध सर्वशक्तिमतो वाक्तत्वस्य अर्थात् एकमात्र ज्ञान साधनानि भवन्ति। यस्मिन् ग्रन्थे अर्थक्रमेण पर्यायक्रमेण च शब्दाः एकत्रीक्रियन्ते स एव कोशः, स च शब्दसङ्ग्रहः एव। वेदार्थज्ञाने अवैयाकरणस्त्वन्दो बधिरः कोशवर्जितः इति आर्योक्तिः प्रतते। विश्वेस्मिन् विश्वमानवधर्मस्य तथा भारतीयसंस्कृतेः मूल आधारभूतः तथा ज्ञानराशिः भवति वेदः। वेद्यन्ते ज्ञाप्यन्ते धर्मार्थकाममोक्षाः अनेनीति व्युत्पत्त्या निष्पन्नः चतुर्वर्ग ज्ञानसाधनभूतो वेदः। वेदार्थ जिज्ञासायै संकलितस्यास्य निरुक्तद्वारा एव कोशरचना आरम्भो अभूत् इति वक्तुं शक्यते। वेदपुरुषस्य निरुक्तं श्रोत्रमित्युच्यते। वैदिक संहितासु प्रयुक्त मंत्राणां संकलनं विधाय तान् मंत्रान् विभिन्न श्रेणीषु संस्थाप्य तत्र प्रयुक्तानां शब्दानां यथा व्युत्पत्ति अर्थनिर्देशः कृतः। वेदोक्त मंत्राणाम् अर्थबोधार्थं यास्काचार्येण निर्मितः वैदिक शब्दकोशः इदं निघण्टुः निरुक्तम् इति। अर्थावबोधे निरपेक्षितया पदजातं यत्रोक्तं तन्निरुक्तम् इति वेदभाष्यकारेण सायनाचार्येणापि प्रतिपादितं वर्तते। एतादृशस्यास्य महत्तर वैदिक कोशग्रन्थस्य पठनभाग्यस्य अवसरः अस्माकं सौभाग्यं भवति। चिन्मय इंटरनेशनल फाउंडेशन शोधसंस्थान इदम् अस्य संस्थायाः मातृसंस्था भवति चिन्मय इंटरनेशनल फाउंडेशन। इदं संस्था 2008 मध्ये भारत सर्वकारस्य आदर्श स्कीम इत्यस्मिन् तत्र संस्कृत केंद्रीय संस्कृत विश्वविद्यालयस्य वित्तीय सहाय्येन इदं 2008 तः प्रचलति। अस्मिन् संस्थायां तत्र संस्कृत प्रचार प्रसाराय कार्यक्रमाः क्रियन्ते। तत्र अस्य संस्थायाः आवेदनावसरे अस्माकं पूज्यपादाः आचार्य अद्वयानंद स्वामीपादाः मुख्यतया केचन अंशाः प्रतिपादिताः सन्ति। तस्मिन् इदं निरुक्तमपि मुख्यं भवति। परन्तु एतावत् पर्यन्तम् अस्माकं शोधसंस्थानम् अस्मिन् दिशि कार्यं न कृतम् इति किञ्चित् क्लेश वक्तुं खेदः एव। परन्तु अस्माकं अधुना अस्माकं चेयरपर्सन महाभागा साक्षात् वाक् तत्वस्य आचार्य मातृस्वरूपिणी अस्माकं गौरी महुलिकर महाभागा नानाशास्त्र पारंगता अस्याः मुखात् इदं प्राप्तमित्यतः इदम् अस्माकं सर्वेषामपि सौभाग्यकरः विषयः इत्युक्त्वा अहं विरमामि। अस्मिन् ये अध्येतारः सन्ति तेषां कृते सर्वेषां कृते अस्माकं शोधसंस्थानपक्षतः तथा चिन्मय इंटरनेशनल फाउंडेशन पक्षतः सर्वेषां कृते शुभाभिनन्दनम् उक्त्वा अहं विरमामि। हरि ओम्, धन्यवादः।
Thank you, Rajshekar Reddy ji. Now, let me take this opportunity to introduce our esteemed facilitator for this webinar series, Gauri ji. Professor Gauri Mahulikar is the Academic Director of Chinmaya International Foundation and also the Chairperson of CIFSS Shodh Sansthan. She was a former head of Sanskrit Department of Mumbai University and the former Dean of Faculty at Chinmaya Vishwavidyapit. She was the former head as a scholar of Vedic tradition, a lover of Sanskrit Sahitya and devoted adherent of Advaita Vedanta. Ma'am has more than 2 decades of Sanskrit teaching expertise and has mentored numerous PhD students. She has received for her tireless work and
Voice muted.
sorry for the mistake. Okay. Let me introduce Gauri again. So, Professor Gauri Mahulikar is the Academic Director of Chinmaya International Foundation and also the Chairperson of CIFSS Shodh Sansthan. She was the former head of Sanskrit Department of Mumbai University and the former Dean of Chinmaya Vishwavidyapit. As a scholar of Vedic tradition, a lover of Sanskrit Sahitya and devoted adherent of Advaita Vedanta, Ma'am has more than 2 decades of Sanskrit teaching experience and has mentored numerous PhD scholars. She has received many accolades for her tireless work and scholarly pursuits in the field of Sanskrit, including Kavikula Guru Kalidasa Sanskrit Sadhan Puraskar by Maharashtra State Government and Adi Shankaracharya Puraskar awarded by the Shankaracharya of the Kanchi Kamakoti Peetham. Karnataka Sanskrit University recently awarded her with an honorary D.Litt in recognition of her dedication and extraordinary work in the Sanskrit field. It is an honor to know and introduce such an distinguished scholar, let alone learn from her. Without any further delay, I request ma'am to take the session forward. Over to you, ma'am. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you, Rajshekar ji, and thank you, Vaishnavi. Thank you, Arvind ji, for introducing and launching this webinar on Nirukta, one of the Vedanga. Let me also start with an invocation of Goddess Saraswati. Rajshekar ji was praising it is Vakswarupa, and without Vag, nothing is possible. Vagakhya, Shabdakhya, Jyotihi. So, Surasura Sevita Pada Pankaja, Kare Virajat Kamaniya Pustaka, Virinchi Patni, Kamala Sanasthita, Saraswati, Nrityatu, Vachime Sada. I'm extremely happy to introduce this textual workshop on Nirukta. There are 12 chapters, so minimum 12 sessions would be there, 12 webinars we can plan, each chapter one webinar. So this webinar of 6 days, Monday to Saturday, will cover only the first chapter. Okay. Now, as Rajshekar ji was saying, this is Niruktam Shrotra Muchyate. The entire Veda Purusha is conceived as, as a Purusha, and the different ways construed to be his various angas, his various limbs. Chandaha Padau tu Vedasya. Shiksha, Kalpa, Vyakarana, Nirukta, Chanda, Jyotisha. These are the 6 Vedangas. Amongst these, Chandas is the pada, the feet of the Veda Purusha. Hastau kalpotha pathyate. Hasta, 2 hands, are the kalpa, because through kalpa there are various sutras, Shrauta Sutra, Grihya Sutra, Dharma Sutra. So everything is everything is gesticulated, everything is performed, enacted through hands, and therefore kalpo, hastav kalpotha pathyate, jyotisham ayanam chakshuhu. Jyoti, from dyuta, to shine, to glow, to illumine, and therefore Jyotish is the illuminary bodies in the sky, and therefore Chakshu, because Chakshu needs some light, right? And therefore, Jyotisha Mayanam Chakshuhu Niruktam Shrotramuchyate. Nirukta is the ear of Veda Purusha. Shiksha Granam tu Vedasya. Shiksha, the science of pronunciation, is the grana, is the nasika, the nose of Veda Purusha. Mukham Vyakaranam Smritam. And Vyakarana, the grammar, is the mukha. Tasmat Sangamadhityaiva Brahmaloke Mahiyate, says Paniniya Shiksha. So Sangam Vedam Adhitya Eva. Now Veda is the storehouse, the reservoir of knowledge, and these 6 are called Vedangas. Vedangam Kasmat Vedarthaha Angyate Gamyate Jnayate Anena iti Vedangam. That is the explanation of Vedanga. So Vedanga is a subsidiary, a tool, so to say, a device to know the meaning of the Vedic mantras. That is one part. Secondly, if you see, there is a body, okay? But if there are no angas, no limbs like hands and feet and nose and ear and eyes, how the person will function? So anga helps us to function. And therefore, these are the angas, these we can say the technical sciences which make the Veda active. The functionalism of the Veda, otherwise Veda would have remained only in the Shruti. It would not have been practiced. It would not have been implemented in practical usage. So these are the angas which help the Veda to get it into practice. Now this is Nighantu and Nirukta. Nirukta is a commentary on Nighantu. Nighantu is the Vedic glossary. Nighantu was not composed by Yaska. It is composed by Kashyapa Prajapati, Kashyapa, and Nirukta is a commentary by Yaskacharya. The oldest lexicon, we can say, available lexicon is Nighantu. And without Nirukta, one is deaf because Niruktam Shrotramuchyate, right? Now there are so many commentators on Nirukta, we will come across them shortly. But there is one person called Deva Yajvan or Devaraja Yajvan. He has paid a very glowing tribute to Yaskacharya. He says, Pranamami Yaska Bhaskaram Yaha Rittamasaha Prakashita Padarthaha. I'm sure you all have got your PPTs, and every day I will ensure that 4 o'clock, before 5 o'clock, the PPTs will be shared with you all. Okay. Pranamami Yaska Bhaskaram yo Rittamasaha Prakashita Padarthaha Yasya Bhuvanatrayim iva Gavaha Prakatam Trayim Bitanvanti. So Yaska is compared to Bhaskara, Aditya, the Surya. What does Surya do? What does the sun do? Sun removes the darkness. Removes the darkness and illumines the objects, Padarthan. Prakashita Padarthaha, and Tamasaha Nirdalanam Nirakaranam. Tathaiva, what Yaska does is, he also removes the darkness of our heart and sheds light on the Padartha. Here Pada is Vyakaranam Padam, Suptigantam Padam. Okay, so Padarthaha. So to understand the meaning of the words which are used in the Vedic mantras, he shines them, so to say, like Bhaskara, like his rays of sun, the sun would shine the entire world. Similarly, Yaska would shine the Padartha, the words in the Vedic mantras, through his Bhashya, through his commentary. Now the sun glows the Bhuvanatrayi with his Gavaha, that is the Kirana, Gavo Pirashmayo Uchante. Again, Yaska I am quoting. And Go also means Vani. Go, this Gavaha, with this Vedavani, what does Yaska do? Trayim, Prakatam Trayim Bitanvanti, he illumines the Vedatrayi. For the sun it is Bhuvanatrayi, and for Yaska it is Vedatrayi. Yajvan has paid a very high tribute to Yaska. Now, Yaskacharya is the first ever known etymologist. Why I say known etymologist? Because he himself refers to some 13 or 14 of his predecessors, but unfortunately, none of their works is available to us now, as Nighantu is. And therefore, Yaska becomes the first known etymologist, pre-Paninian obviously, and his personal information is not much found except that he is Paraskara Gotriyaha Yaskaha. I will come on that in a short while. He is a man of comprehensive knowledge and vast reading. He has thoroughly studied all the Samhitas, the Pratishakyas, the Brahmanas, the Upanishads, whatever was available to him. He has studied all that, and he has furnished the phonetic material for us based on semantics, based on Arthanityaha Pariksheta, that is the main principle of Yaska. He is free from bigotry or any type of partiality or fanaticism. He discusses, even in the very Vedanga itself, he has discussed Vedic skepticism. What type of guts, what type of courage he has to discuss that, Anarthakaha mantraha iti kautsaha, and he discusses it all step by step. Step by step. So he is a very, what you can say, what you can say, like a passively, not getting involved in that. He discusses everything on a rational grounding, rational basis. One of the colophons which was found of Nirukta has the Pushpika, has the colophon, the manuscript, is Namah Paraskaraya, Namo Yaskaya. Namah Paraskaraya, Namo Yaskaya. And what is Paraskara? Patanjali's Mahabhashya says, Paraskaraha Deshaha. Somewhere in Afghanistan, maybe, the Western Asia, west to India. So Afghanistan, Iran, maybe some Paraskara Desha. All great people came from there. Even Panini comes from Shalatura. He is Shalaturiya, right? So Paraskara, on that, if you go through, it is a Panini Sutra 61157, Paraskara Prabhriti Nicha Saudnyayam. And this sutra, there are commentaries of Kashika, Siddhanta Kaumudi, and Bala Manorama, and they all say that Paraskara, this word is formed by the etymology Param Karoti iti. Param Karoti iti with Sudagama, Sut as an Agama. And this is a very interesting Agama, We have so many words which we know of, like Taskara. Taskara is a thief. Taskara is a thief. But Tat Karoti iti Taskaraha with Sudagama. So this is the very name, Paraskara and even Yaska comes from that Sudagama. He has so many words like Vanaspati, even Prayashchitta is by this Sudagama. Taskara, Kishkindha. We know Kishkindha Kanda in the Ramayana, right? What is Kishkindha? He says there, Kimapi Tatra Asti. What is that? Kimapi Dhatte iti Kishkindha. And what is that? Vanara Sainyam Dhatte iti Kishkindha. So there is the Vanara Sena of Sugriva and all. So this is very interesting. Now this Yaska is said to be Yaska Rushehe Shishyaha. Yaska is the name of a Rushi, and Yaska becomes a Taddhita, Yaskasya Shishyaha, and he is stated to be the guru of Bharadwaja and Jatukarnya. In fact, the very word Yaska could be derived, because we are going to have so many derivations, right, in this Nirukta Grantha. So even Yaska we can derive from which root? Tatra namani akhyata. So some verb should be there, and that verb is yasa. Yasa, to strive, to toil, to labor. Pra plus yata, that is yasa. Yasa is to make efforts, okay? And we have the word ayasa. In Kannada also we have ayasa. Sanskrit also we have the word ayasa. Atimatram atmanam ayasa yasikim. Why are you exerting yourself too much, right? So from yasa also we can derive the word yaska. Now there are so many commentators on Nirukta. Nirukta itself is a commentary, and on Yaska's Nirukta there are many commentaries. Some are known only by name, they are not available to us. For example, Ugra, no commentary available. Then Skandaswamin, some portion is available and he is referred to by Devaraja Yajvan. Then Durgacharya is the most, what you can say, studied and available in all, Devaraja Yajvan has commented on Nighantu, not on Nirukta. He is a commentator on Nighantu. Durgacharya of the 13th century, he is known as Durga Singha. Perhaps he belonged to Jammu, Kashmir area in the valley, and perhaps he was from the Vasishtha Gotra, because there comes one Vasishtha Dveshini Ruk. Vishwamitra states that Ruk in the third mandala. Third mandala is the Vishwamitra mandala. Seventh mandala is the Vasishtha mandala of the Rigveda. In the third mandala, Vishwamitra states one richa, one shloka, one verse, and that is criticizing Vasishtha. So this is known as Vasishtha Dveshini Rik. This is Rigveda 3:53-23. And our Durga Swami, our Durga Singha doesn't comment on that. And therefore, critics, they just conclude, that he must be belonging to Vasishtha Gotra, and therefore he doesn't comment on that particular richa. Sayanacharya, of course, quotes heavily, abundantly from Durga's commentary. Now, who are the Yaska's predecessors? Yaska is not obviously the first. He is the first available. That's why I made this statement. He is the first available etymologist or linguist for us. And there are so many predecessors. From 1314, he himself has referred to as Aupamanyavaha, Aurunavabhaha, Audumbarayana, Agrayana, all these are Tadhitas, Varshyayanihi, Shakapunihi, Gargyaha, Gargya, Garga, Gargya, Gargyayana. In Panini also you have these Tadhitas. Then Galava, Taitiki, Kraushtuki, Sthaulashtivi. Even pronouncing becomes difficult, right? Sthaulashtivi. Shakatayana, of course, he was a great grammarian, and we have Shakatayana Sutras also, Unadi Sutras, and Kautsa. So these are the various predecessors which he has discussed, which he has referred to. Some of the topics of debates, some of the topics for controversial topics, he has named them by the authors and then discussed. He doesn't take credit of any of his predecessors. He gives the due credit to everybody and discusses that point. For example, na nirbadhaha upasargaha arthan nirahuhu iti Shakatayanaha. Tatra namani akhyatjani iti Shakatayanaha. So like that he would refer. Anarthakaha mantraha iti Kautsaha. Indriya nityam vachanam iti Audumbarayanaha. Like that he would refer to all his predecessors. Now, etymological science, we say that Nirukta is the science of etymology. Is it the first attempt that before Nirukta there was nothing like etymology? We have the entire Vedic literature. This is Vedanga, right? Nirukta is one of the Vedanga. Don't we find anything in the Vedas, in the Samhitas, in the Brahmanas, in the Upanishads? History of etymology can be traced back to the Samhitas, to the mantra. So mantra brahmanayoho vedanamadheyam. When we say Veda, it is basically the Samhita and the Brahmana portions, right? So in the Samhitas, in the Rig Samhita, Yajus Samhita, or Sama Samhita, etc., we do have references, but we don't have, what we don't have there are the principles. What we don't have there is the logic, why and how the words are derived from a particular root. So no logical deliberation is there, no discussions are there, this just comes as a statement, okay? But the Niruktis are there. For example, Rigveda 1:10:1, it says, Gayanti tvam gayatrinaha. The very word Gayatri, it's the name of a chandas, it's the Vedic chanda, Gayatri meter, right? So, Ashtapada, Tripada and Ashtakshara, 8 3s are 24 letters. We all know Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. This is not a Gayatri mantra, this is a Savitri mantra in the Gayatri meter. Like that we have Rudra Gayatri, we have Datta Gayatri, we have Vishnu Gayatri, we have Lakshmi Gayatri, Durga Gayatri, Ishana Gayatri, and so many other Gayatris, right? So, Gayanti tvam gayatrinaha. So, Gayanti. So, those who are sing in a particular meter, they are called Gayatrinaha, from Gai, Gayati. That is the root. It is not explained, but it is mentioned there. Tapasa tapyadvam, from root tap. Tapasa tapyadvam comes in Vajasneyi Samhita. Yadarodit tad rudrasya rudratvam. That's a typical Brahmanical literature. Yad arodit. Why Rudra is called Rudra? It was born from Brahma's forehead. The moment Rudra was born, he fell down and he started crying. Yad arodit. Tat rudrasya rudratvam. And therefore, Rudir ashru vimochane. From Rudra, to shed tears, he got the name Rudra. Jata Vedaha Kasmat, it will come in the 7th Kanda, the Daivata Kanda. Jatani Veda, so Jate Vidyate iti Jata Vedaha. Jatani Yaha Veda Saha Jata Vedaha. Jatani Yam Viduhu Sapi Jata Veda. So many etymological explanations are given in the 7th Kanda. In Aitareya Brahmana, the Angirasa Rishis, why they are called Angirasas? For that, one etymology comes, Yena Angaraha Asamastena, they are fiery, as if they are ablaze with the Angara, with the sparks of fire, and therefore they are called Angirasa. There is one interesting etymology, Angirasa is from Anga and Rasa. There is Rasa coming from Anga, okay, they are Angirasa. Interestingly, Angirasas and Atharvans are the two greatest of the seers of the Atharva Veda Samhita, which is called a Bhaishajya Veda, which is medicinal in nature. 1/4 or 1/6 of Atharva Veda constitutes of the medicines, the therapeutic and the curative and the precautionary medicines and all that. So Angarasa, the body fluids. So those who used to treat the diseases with body fluids are called Angirasaha. So many different Vitpattis according to the context. Everything, Naikapadani Nirbruyat. We will see it later in the 2nd chapter perhaps. What are the principles of Nirukta? Naikapadani Nirbruyat. Out of context, you should not etymologize because you may be misled. You may be misled. So context is very important. Then generally we do, ko nama rasaha in Natya Shastra, rasyate iti rasaha. Rasyate iti rasaha, that which is relished, that which is enjoyed, that which is appreciated is rasa. Rasyate iti rasaha. In fact, it can have by metathesis also, sarati iti rasaha. That which flows, which oozes, which touches, the hearts of everybody, by which the hearts get melted, that is rasa. Okay, so srusara, from that also rasa could be derived, or rasyati, rasana. Rasana, we name the tongue as rasana. Why? Rasyate anaya iti rasana. So rasa plus karane lyut, and then becomes it rasana, and then the strilingi tap pratyaya, it becomes okay. Then pishachaha, pishitam ashnati iti pishachaha. One who eats the rotten food is pishacha. The goblin. The goblins eat the rotten food, the rotten flesh. Pishitam ashnati. One interesting thing, like ulu khala, the mortar, ulu khala. Ulu khala, how does it look? Ukhal in Marathi, ulu khala, mortar and the pestle with which you pound. So that has an opening, right? And therefore the etymology of ulu khala is urdhve kham asya asti iti ulu khalam. Urdhva, in the urdhva bhaga, upside there is a kham, there is a void, there is a hole. Inside there is a hole which is heading upwards, not down, right? And so urdhve kham asya asti iti ulu khalam. So it's a human tendency to derive words from the verb which we know of. It's a human tendency, and this normally is done on the basis of the meaning. So semantics is syntax, semantics, phonetics, morphology. These are the various aspects of linguistics, and semantics, arthanityata, that is the main important thing for deriving words from meaningful verbs. Words are derived from verbs or roots, okay? But they have to tally. I will give you some examples later on. Now there are, we saw that Nighantu is the basic text, which is the glossary, this is not a dictionary. Dictionary gives you meanings. Nighantu is not a dictionary. Nighantu is a gloss. It's a compilation of the words occurring in the Vedic literature. It's a glossary. Now this glossary of Vedic words is divided into three sections. There are 5 chapters of Nighantu, divided into 3 categories, 3 portions. The first is Nighantuka Kanda. Nighantuka Kanda is the section on the synonyms. So for meaning of one, there will be hundreds of words which are given. Literally 100 words are given. Ekashatam jalanamani. Nighantu gives 100 words for jala. But it starts with Gauhu, Kshma, Jma, Kshiti, Avani, Kshoni, etc., etc. Ekavimshati Prithivi Namadheyani. 21 names for Prithvi. 16 names for Ushas. Panchadasha Hiranyanamani, like that. So these are all, this is a section for synonyms, okay? Nighantuka Kanda deals with the synonyms. Then we come to Naigama Kanda, otherwise called as Aikapadika Kanda. Naigama Kanda or Aikapadika Kanda, this deals with the homonyms. Homonyms is one word having multiple meanings. One word having multiple meanings. For example, in English we have bark. It's the bark of a tree or barking of a dog, bark. Bank, bank of a river, bank of ocean, and bank the Vittakosha. So these are homonyms. So to understand the meaning of such homonyms, prime important is the context. Otherwise, how will you translate it? We have the word Pushkara, for example, in Sanskrit. Pushkara has so many different meanings. We'll deal with from the 4th to 2nd Kanda, 4th to 6th Adhyaya of the Nirukta. And this is the fourth kanda, a fourth chapter of Nighantu. Nighantu in the first three chapters deals with synonyms. In the fourth chapter, there are 5 chapters I said, okay, 5 chapters of Nighantu. In the first 3 chapters, only synonyms. The fourth chapter deals with Aikapadika. Why it is called Aikapadika? Each word is taken into consideration and then it is analyzed and it is etymologized. Okay. So Aikapada, Ekaikam padam tasya vishleshanam kritam, tasya nirvachanam dattam, ataha Aikapadikam iti uchyate. And such, how many words are there? 279 words. 279 Vedic words are discussed in the fourth chapter of Nighantu, and that comes to the fourth to 6th chapters of Nirukta. And the last section of Nighantu is the Daivata Kanda, which is in the 5th chapter of Nighantu, and in the Nirukta it forms 7 to 12 chapters. 7th chapter to 12th chapter. So you have on one hand the chapterization of Nighantu, on the other hand you have the chapterization of Nirukta. Don't get confused, okay? I am talking about Nighantu chapters also and Nirukta's chapters also. So Daivata Kanda, then all the Devatas, the Jata Veda, Agni, Varuna, Indra, Aditi, till Devapatni. Devapatni is the last word which is discussed. Now coming to Nighantu. So these are the Nighantuka Kanda, Naigama Kanda or Aikapadika Kanda and Daivata Kanda. 3 kandas, 3 portions, 3 sections of Nighantu which are spread in 5 chapters. First 3, then 4th and Daivata Kanda the 5th. When we deal with Nighantuka Kanda, then in the Nirukta it is the chapters 1 to 3. And these synonyms, when he discusses, they also have an order. They are not haphazardly compiled like I got these names first, so let me put it in the first. And this I got in the last, so let me put it in the last. Not like that. There is an order. There is a sequence. If we see, look at the Nighantu words, there is a sequence for that. So synonyms are arranged in 3 chapters by Yaska. First he deals with the phenomenon, the physical phenomenon like the cow, the water, the cloud, abhra, megha, then dawn, night, day, etc., etc. All the nature, the jagat around us. After that, human beings, their different limbs, different objects which they enjoy, like food, wealth, battles. So the names for all these, that comes in the sequence. After the natural phenomena and other things come the human, the jiva part of it. And the third is the abstract qualities like happiness, beauty. These are all abstract qualities. We don't find them in the outer world. You have to find them from within. So little bit of adhyatmikata is there. So there is a sequence for that also. I mean, this logic we can apply because, they come in that order. So we can apply that logic here. So that was the Nighantuka Kanda for the synonyms. Then we also find words which are having more than one meaning. And therefore, the Yaska explains now Yaska's commentary or the Nighantu itself starts from Go Shabda. Gavadihi Devapatnyantaha Shabda Samudayaha or Pada Samudayaha Nighanturiti Uchyate. Gavadi Devapatnyantaha. Devapatni is the last word in the Daivata Kanda of Nighantu, and Gauhu is the first word in the Nighantuka Kanda of the Nighantu. So Gavadi Devapatnyantaha. So there are so many words I told you, like in the homonyms we have almost 279 words there. And chapters 4 to 6 of Nirukta, they deal with this word by word. And first, when he will take it into account, he will say, Anavagatam. Oh, I don't know how to derive it. Anavagatam. And then, like Sthitasya Gatihi Chintaniya, there is a maxim in Vyakarana, Sthitasya Gatihi Chintaniya. Whatever is rudha, whatever is already established, for that you have to find out some method by which it has become rudha, by which it prevails even now, right? Like for example, Taktavatu Nishtha, right? In the past passive participles, for framing the past passive participles, ta and tavat, these are the suffixes given in the sutra by Panini, Taktavatu Nishtha. But there are certain exceptions. It neither ends in ta like gata, ratan, mata, etc. And it doesn't even end as ita with idagama, namita, dhavita, likhita. And tavat like gatavat, hasitavat, etc. So where is ta and tavat? Even besides that also there are certain like past passive participles. For example, and for that Panini will have to write some sutra. For example, pacha. Pacha is the very commonly used verb. Devadattaha, odanam pachati, etc. Now, what is the past passive participle of pacha? It is not pakta, it is not pachita, it is not pakita, it is pakva. And therefore, when we say pakvanna, it doesn't necessarily mean mishtanna or sweet. Pakva anna is cooked food. Basically, pakva, pacha, right? But now, we use the word pakvan as a mithai, right? More or less as a mithai. So, pachehe vaha, there comes a sutra. Because sthitasya gatish chintaniya. And therefore, whenever such words are discussed, they are discussed with that time frame. In that time frame, they are discussed. So, for example, there is a word called akuparaha. Akuparaha. Akupara means Aditya. Akupara means Samudra. Akupara is also the name of a turtle, a tortoise. Akuparaha. So, we will come across the etymologies later, but such words are titau. Titau is one such word. Titau is chalni, strainer. You strain something with that, and whatever you don't want, that you throw away, right? Titau. So, there are so many such words, but then we'll come across those words in the homonyms, in the Naigamakanda. And in the Daivata Kanda, we have the Vedic deities and Nirukta from 7th chapter to the 12th chapters. These 6 chapters, they deal with Daivata Kanda. And some general discussion also is there. I mean, you open the 7th chapter first, Daivata Kanda, he doesn't start with Jata Vedaha or Agnihi like that, He will first make bring out some points for discussion. What is the nature of the gods? How many types of god deities are there? How many types of mantras are there? So mantras are 3 types, Parokshakritaha, Pratyakshakritaha and Adhyatmikyaha. What are the types of the deities? Tisro vai devataha, Prithivistaniyaha, Antarikshasthaniyaha, Dyusthaniyash. So like that, such discussions he would bring out first. And what is the Swarupa, the Bhaya Rupa? Do the deities have any human form? Are they Purushakaraha? Are they not? All such discussions he would have it in the Daivataka. Names of various deities are discussed in the 7th to 12th chapter. And when he discusses, what is the style of Yaska, he doesn't just take the word and etymologize it. Wherever that name occurs, Veda, he will quote that mantra. He will quote that rucha. And in that rucha, along with that word, some other words will also come. By and by, he will give the derivations of all those words. So this is like Anushangika Phala for us. We read Nirukta to take the etymology, to get the etymology of the words listed in Nighantu, but in addition we get much more. We end up with much more knowledge than what we expect him to give us. Okay, so these are derivation of words, then illustration, and the etymology, the words of in the mantras, all that he gives. That is the general pattern. Now, as Rajshekharji mentioned, what is the definition of Nirukta? It is given by the Veda Bhashyakara, Sayanacharya. In fact, he gives two definitions in the Rigveda Bhashya Bhumika. Arthavabodhe nirapekshataya padajatam yatra uktam tan Niruktam. Arthavabodhe, for the understanding of the meaning. Arthasya avabodhe. Okay? Nirapekshataya, without having any biases, any prejudices. Nirapekshataya padajatam, the entire samuha, padasamuha, yatra uktam is stated there, that is called Nirukta. So wherever, without having any biases, without having any prejudices, without giving it any subjective color, whenever and wherever the words are derived and analyzed for clear understanding of the meaning, that text is known as Nirukta. Understood? And then he says, Gavadi Deva Patnyanta Shabda Samudaye. From Gauhu to Deva Patni, this is the Shabda Samudaya, the list of the Vedic words. Etavanti Prithvi Namadheyani. These many are the names indicative of earth, Prithvi, Dhara. Etavanti Suvarna Namadheyani. These many words are listed to mean or indicate the dhatu suvarna, the metal, yellow metal. Iti nirapekshataya padartha jnanam karitam iti niruktam. So Sayana makes it very, very clear. What is Nirukta? So that is first definition, and when he says that, it also includes Nighantu, because Nirukta is dependent upon Nighantu. Where are the words he takes from? From the list which is there in Nighantu, right? So Nighantu and Nirukta both are included in this first definition. In fact, when my mother used to sing some Diksha songs, some Gurudev Ranade and all, she used to say, Nighantu Nirukta Ani Brahma Sutra Avatara Sahasra Upagrantha. So Nighantu, Nirukta, Brahma Sutra, these are different names of different scriptures. So Nighantu and Nirukta come together in this. The second definition, however, is restricted to the principles of Nirukta. He says, Sayana again, Ekaikasya Padasya. Take one pada in that list, Sambhavitaha, Avayavarthaha, whatever are the probable avayava, the segments, the syllabic portions of that particular word, tasya arthaha, tesham arthaha, yatra nisheshena uchyante tadapi niruktam. Sometimes what happens, take for example the word Agni. Agni for example, okay. Agigatau. Aga is a gatyarthaka root, that is to move. And the flames of Agni are always moving upwards. There is a continuous movement, right? And therefore Agigatau, from Aga, Agni is derived. That is quite clear. But Avayavarthaha Sambhavitaha, whatever are the probable syllabic portions. In Agni there is Akara, there is Gakara, half Halanta, and Nakara. right? Akara, Gakara, Nakara. 3 syllabic portions are there. So from all these 3, there is a derivation of Agni in the Daivata Kanda. Interesting, right? Do you want me to tell it now? Akara comes from, in Gatau, that is Gatyarthaka root, Gatyarthaka. Gakara, very weird it is. It comes from the root Daha. Daha is to burn. Now, where is Ga and Daha? What is the connection between them? Dagdha. Daha, the past passive participle of Daha becomes Dagdha. And Agni, you can't touch it because it burns you. So that Dagdhatvat, that Gakara represents the burning aspect. See the semantic approach, the semantic perspective behind everything. One thing is Akara, that is Agigatau, then Gakara for Dahanat, and Nakara, Ni Prapane, one who carries our Havi. We say, Indraya idam na mama swaha. Then Agni is supposed to carry that Havi to Indra. Prajapataye idam na mama. So it is Agni carries that to Prajapati. He is the carrier. He is the Havya Vahana. Ni Prapane. And therefore, from Sambhavitaha Padarthaha Avayavarthaha Yatra Nisheshena Uchante Arthaha Tadapi Niruktam. Here I have given a very simple example of Naraka. Naraka, Swarga and Naraka are very famous words, we know all these. I mean, everybody knows these words, especially because of the Puranas and all. So Naraka is hell. Naraka is hell. But Naraka has 3 syllabic portions, Nakara, Rakara and Kakara. Now all these 3 portions, they have certain meanings. So what is the meaning of Na? Na is negative particle, Nasti. Ra is from root Rama, Ramanam. And Ka is Alparthe Kan, Ishat, Alpa. For that we use the suffix Ka, Kan, Pratyaya. It's a Kan Pratyaya. For example, we have Bala, Balaka. Bala is a child. Balaka is still smaller, Alparthe. Right? Like we have fort and fortress not in Sanskrit, in English. Similarly, we have Ka as a Pratyaya here. Okay? Like Kavoshnam, Ushnam is hot. Kavoshnam, little hot, warm. Kavoshnam jalam. Aham kavoshnam jalam pibami. I drink warm water. Kavoshnam. So Ka becomes Alparthe. And now the meaning of that is Nasti Ramanasthanam Alpamapi Atra iti Narakaha. What is Naraka? There is nothing, not even a single isolated place where you can enjoy. Naraka is only to experience your bhog, the bad things you have to experience that, and these are all the punishments which you have to experience that. You have to suffer a lot in Naraka. That is the picture of Puranas, right? Especially the Garuda Purana and all that. So Naraka, Nasti, Alpamapi, Ishadapi, Ramanasthanamatra iti Narakaha. So Sambhavitaha Avayavarthaha yatra nisheshena uchante tadapi niruktam. Clear? Now there is Panchavidham Niruktam. Nirukta is stated to be 5-fold. I mean, these are the 5 principles. You are deriving any word from a verb or a root or a dhatu, some or the other of these 5 principles you are applying knowingly or unknowingly. What are these? Varnagamaha. Varnagama is anaptixis. Like we had in Paraskara, the Sut, Sudagama. Sut, the Sakara was Agama, right? The example given in the Nirukta is Varanagamad yatha hamsaha. Why hamsa from Varanagama? What is the root of hamsa? Hasa. Hasa is to smile. Hasna, hasya. What is the connection? One may wonder. What is the connection, right? Of a swan and a laughter or a smile? By Kavi Sanketa, a poetic convention that smile is always white in color. Smile is always white in color and swan is pure white in color. So you just add a anuswara to that, that is agama. Varanagamad yatha hamsaha. So from hasa it becomes hamsa. Sneha becomes saneha. In Hindi, karma becomes karam, dharma becomes dharam, right? Smarana becomes sumirana, sumirana. These are all Varanagama. You add something which is not there. In smarana, sa is half, but you add ukara to that, you become it, you make it sumirana. Sa is halanta there, but you add the ukara there, right? So there are so many examples. This is addition of something. In the northern Indian provinces, we have the conjunct consonant beginning, especially with sa, station. They will never pronounce it as station, they will pronounce it as station. Station is school, right? What is E? E becomes agama, isn't it? So I always make it a joke, like istri. For stri, you make it istri. Do you mean this istri, the iron box, or stri? So, there are some jokes apart, but then this is Varanagama. Then Varana Viparyaya is from Himsa, it becomes Simha. Himsa is to kill. Simha, the lion, kills all the other animals in the forest. He is a killer, right? Predatory animal, and therefore Himsanat Simhaha. The best example, Matlaba, ki matbal hai in Punjabi. Matlaba becomes Matbala. Varanasi becomes Banaras. And the best is Pashyakaha, one who sees. Sees here and beyond becomes Kashyapaha. Pa and ka interchange their positions. This is transposition, right? Positions get changed, Varana Viparyaya. This is metathesis. Then there is Varana Vikara and Varana Nasha. Varana Vikara is change in the letter. For example, the root is Dyuta, from which we have the word Vidyut, the lightning. Visheshena Dyotate iti. But the Dyuta becomes Jyoti. So Dakara changes to Jakara and Ukara changes to Okara. Varana Vikara. Okay? So there is Varana Vikara. Vaha becomes Ogha. Bhida becomes Bindu. Bhida. Bindu Kasmat. Bhedanat. Bindu. Then Varana Nasha, haplology, deletion. Deletion of a Varana. Like Prushat Udaram becomes Prushodaram. Trichaha. There are in the Rigveda Madhutrichaha. Madhuksharanti Sindhavaha, etc. Madhutrich, it is called in the Rigveda. 3 ruchas starting with the word Madhu. Madhuksharanti Gavaha, etc. So that Trichaha, how this word came into existence? It is basically Tisraha Ruchaha. 3 ruchas. In Tisraha, what is T made up of? Ta plus Ikara. Sra is Sa plus Ra plus Aha, Visarga. And then Richaha. What you do? Ikara is dropped, Sakara is dropped, that Visarga is dropped, and that Takara joins with Richaha, it becomes Trichaha, Varananasha. Varananasha. And the last is Dhatos tadarthati shayena yogaha taduchyate panchavidham niruktam. Some far-fetching etymologies you do. We will do it tomorrow, Nighantu. What the very word Nighantu, how this is derived? There are 3 etymologies given. Samamnayaha, samamnataha, savyakhyatavyaha, and Nighantavaha kasmat. That we'll do tomorrow. So dhatoho tadarthatishayaha. A fine example here, a very common example, Samiti. Samiti means battlefield. We have the word Samitinjaya for Arjuna. You know, one who is always victorious in battles is Samitinjaya. That's a name for Arjuna. But Samiti meaning battlefield, what is the root? In gatau. Sam ekatri karane. Sam iti eki karane. And in gatau, where the people come together with one intention. That is Samiti. Samiti also means a sabha. Sabha and Samiti. There is a great article by V.S. Altekar on that. Samiti and Sabha. So Samiti also means an assembly. There also people gather together with some intention, and in the battlefield also with some sole intention to kill or get killed. That is also Samiti. So that is Rana. This becomes a Tadarthatishaya. So far-fetching etymology. So we have normally, this is the last slide. Normally there are three types, threefold etymologies. One is Pratyaksha Vritti, where the Kriya is Utkata. It is very, very visible. For example, Gati, Mati, Nati, Pakaha, Pachakaha, Adhyapakaha, Shikshakaha. The roots are very, very apparently, distinctly visible to us. Utkata Kriyaha. Paroksha Vritti, Antarleena Kriyaha, where the Kriya is there but it is little hidden. You have to explore it. You have to search for it. For example, Vadhu. Vadhuhu Kasmat. The apparent root which is visible there, phonetically similar, is Vadh, to kill. From that we have, weapon is also called Vadha. Weapon because it is fatal. But can we derive the word Vadhu, the bride, from the root Vadha, to kill? No. And therefore we have to derive the word from Vaha, to carry. The bride is carried from her father's house to her husband's house. Grihat, Pitur Grihat, Bhartuhu Griham, Niyate, Uihate, iti Vadhuhu. So from Vaha. So this is Antarleena Kriya. The Kriya is there, but it is hidden. You have to explore and search and dig it up. And the third is Atiparoksha Vritti. You have to find the Kriya somehow or the other. This is like Dhatoho Tadarthatishayaha. Atiparoksha Kriya. And we have Nighantu, the word Nighantu derived from Sam plus A plus Hana. Samahantuhu eva Nighantuhu. How? We will see it tomorrow. But then this is all I wanted to tell for today. And I hope you enjoyed this first lecture. I wanted to have this interactive because this is an introductory lecture. Today there won't be any question answers. From tomorrow onwards, I will stop at least 5 minutes before 8:15, maybe by 8:10 or so. And quick query, you can ask it there itself, or you will be sent a Google form, and for every day's questions, you can just note them down, because there are so many people here, it will be impossible for me to deal with the questions of everyone. And therefore, Arvindji, please send out the Google form tomorrow itself or today itself, so that for every day you place your questions in the place based on first lecture, based on second lecture, and we will have after 2-3 weeks, so that you can go through these lectures again and again, because this is bit difficult topic to understand. And while I speak, maybe you feel, oh, this is so simple, this is so nice, but then when you come back to it again, perhaps you will have more queries. So please go through that again and again, and we will have the question answer session after 2-3 weeks if it suits you. Okay? Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. See you tomorrow again at 7:15, and I will be sharing the PPTs. Come prepared. Hari Om. Shubharatri.